Welcome to the fastest daf in town. Today we'll start this Bava Batra daf Kuf Samach Vav. We're going to begin on Kuf Samach Hayim and Beis by the new Mishnah. Says the Masnisa. So we know that a mana is equal to 25 sloyim. We also know that a sela is equivalent to 4 dinarim. So because of that, 100 zuz is equal to 25 sloyim. Okay. So, based on that, Kosabo Zuzin Meya Dinan Sloyin Esrin Enu El Esrin Zuzin. So they wrote in the document 20 sloyim, and therefore it could be only 20. Therefore, not 25, because maybe it's referring to higher quality sloyim as opposed to 25 inferior coins. So 20 high quality coins, that's what it means. So Eno Ella Esrin Zuzin. So therefore, he only gets 20 zuz. On the other hand, Meya Dinun Tlosin sloyin. If let's see, he says 30 sloyin, which we think would be 25. Eno Ella Mana. He only gets a mana, which again is 25 sloyim. On this, the Rashbam explains the reason for this is the Yad Bal Hashtar al Tachtoina. The one who's holding on to this document, he has the lower hand, because it's possible it can mean one way or the other. So therefore, because of that, you are trying to take extra money out of someone's hands, so you have to prove what it is. Therefore, you get the lower end of the deal. Now, what happens if a document says Kesef Zuzin, now Zuzin is plural, Dinun, this is the amount of silver coins, and then Venimchak, the next word is erased, which would have had the number. So, what do we say? In Pachas Mishtayim, no less than 2. Because since it's written Zuzin, we know at least there's got to be 2. But again, you cannot take out of the other person's hands because you have the burden of proof to prove it's more. So until then, it's 2. So for that matter, says the Mishnah, Kesef Silin Di'inon, this amount of silver sloyim, the nimchak, and it's erased. So in Pachas Mishtayim, nothing less than 2. If the document mentions Darkainais Dinon, again, it's in Lashon Rabim, and then Min Nimchak, it's erased in Pachas Mishtayim. Therefore, you only get nothing less than 2. Kosabo Milmal Mano Mlata Mosayim. What if the top of the document says it's 100, and the bottom says 200, or Milmal Mosayim Mlata Mana? So which one do we say it is? Is it 100 or 200? So we always go after the second term. So if that's the case, what's the purpose of having it on the top if all we really care about is what the bottom one is? The point is that if, let's say, one of the letters gets erased, from the bottom one, which you usually hold by, but if one of the letters is missing, Yilman min ha'elyoin. We'll be able to learn from the top one what the bottom one says. But it's only one letter. That's what we're going to explain. Okay. So, continues the Gemara, Tanu Rabbanan. Aimer, if a person says just the word kesef, which means silver, in pachis mediner kesef. It can't be less than a dinner kesef. If he says kesef dinarin, which again is plural, or for that matter, the dinarin kesef, in pachis mishtei dinarim kesef, it's no less than 2. If he says kesef bid dinarin, in pachis mishtei dinarim, dahav kesef. There's not going to be less than 2 dinarim of dahav kesef. Amar mar kesef in ein pachas mediner kesef. Vema nascha. Why do we assume that it's at the very least a dinar of silver? Maybe he's talking about a nascha, a bar of gold. So Rabbi Lezer the kasabei matbeya, because he mentioned the word coin. If it's a coin, it's not a bar of gold. Vema priti. So maybe we're talking about prutos. Why silver coins? So Papa, Bastardo Sagi Prita de Kaspa. It's a situation, a place in which this is not something which is done. Therefore, it's not possible that when you said this language, it could be talking about prutos. If a person says dahav bedinarin, ein pachas mibishnei dinarim kesef dahav. So Omer Mar dahav ein pachas medin dahav. It can't be less than a din of gold. Ein manascha, so maybe it's a bar of gold. So Rabbi Lazar the custom matbeya. Again, if it says the word matbeya, that's not referring to a nascha. As we continue to kuf samach vav amud aleph. The aim of priti, same question. So priti dehavalu avidi and she. So again, when it comes to prutos, a person doesn't refer to that in relation to gold. Dahav bid dinarin in pachas mibshnei dinarim kesef dahav. Ema dahava pricha. Maybe it's broken pieces of gold. Betray dinrei dahava kaimer. So Rabbi Yad Bal Hashtar Al Tachtaina. The reason is because, as we said, if it's unsure what the document means, you're going to get the smaller amount, unless you can prove otherwise. Reisha Tani Kesem Dinarim in Pakas B'Shtem Dinarim Zahav Kesem Amai Ema Kasva Naschel B'Tray Dinarim Dekasv Kamer Amar Ravashi Reisha the Kasev Dinri save the Kasev Dinarin. The Reisha, says Rashbam, the Mashma Dinri Zahav. The Reisha is referring to gold. Of a dinarim, sta mashma shel kesef. So mana tamar deshani bein dinrei with dinarin. How do we know that one is referring to silver, one's gold, just by this small difference in language? How do we know one is silver, one's gold? The Sanya, because it's actually, we derive this from that which we learned. The Isha Shoyles Safik Chamish Leidois, Safik Chamish Zivois. If you have a woman, beginning of Masechtas Krisus, so you have this woman who there's a doubt of 5 births, because she had 5 miscarriages. We don't know if it's a Safik Ruach, Safik Vlad, Safik Chamish Zivo, says Rashbam Kagoin, Kulkeles Minyana, she messed up the count. V'rasa Chamisha Chadashim, she saw 5 months. Shlosh Yom Ritzufim, 3 days consecutively. B'chol Shana each month. Savik b'mei nida, savik b'seich acharasa yom shemei nida l'nida, shemei mei niziva v'chayavas v'karban. So she's not sure exactly what's what. So the din is mevia carbon echad. You only have to bring 1 carbon. Says Rashbam with tahir matumasa to be purified from your tuma. A Torah l'oil v'Torah l'chatos. Denu nechal. However, it's not eaten. The chatos oif ba al savik ve'enu nechal. So back in the Gemara, Mavia carbon echad ve'ochelas b'zvachem ve'en hashar lehachayva. Okay. So havi leh chamish leidos v'adois chamish zivos v'adois. Only one is for sure. Mavia carbon echad ve'ochelas b'zvachem hashar lehachayva. Masav amdu kini b'Yerushalayim. They brought these birds. Bedinrei zahav, worth the amount of gold. Amar Sheben Gamliel, ha'ma'oyin hazeh, in this place, which is referring to the Beis HaMikdash Nishma. He's swearing in the name of the Beis HaMikdash. Im olin halayla, if the night comes, ad shiu bin dinarim, says Rashbam, shel kesef, that the price will go down. Nechnas abeis in v'limid, and he taught to isha shoyleh chamish leidos v'adois chamish zivos v'adois maybe a carbon echad. You only have to bring 1. V'chelas mizvachim v'yin ashar le'achayva. So says Rashbam, v'yin ashar le'achayva. Taima de Rabbi Shem Rabbi Kiva Diamri Hasim Timer al achas v'tipater. Okay. Let's continue. Kuf samach vav bebeis. What happened? Va'amdu kinim boi bayoim b'ribasayim. So it became, it says Rashbam, Ravias dinner, Shnei Toirim, b'roiva dinner. Says the Gemara, Kosimul Ma'alam. So again, if you're on the top and the bottom, different things go after the bottom. Tanabaran, Yilamin atachtan min elyoin, b'ois achas. If let's say there's one letter missing on the bottom, so therefore you can look at the top, and then you'll know the correct number of a lobish deisios. Not if there's two letters missing. So what is that? Kagain chanan me chanani. So there's two letters missing. Va'anan me anani. So ma'ishnash deisios below. Why two letters is too much missing? Dilma masrami shem ben arba osios. Because let's say this person's name is 4 letters long. Vavli palga dishma, and you're missing half of his name. So nami. Even if it's just one letter missing. So let's say his name was like God or Dun. So in that case, if you're missing one letter, you're also missing half of the name. At the time, the issue with 2 letters is maybe the name is 3 letters long, and you're missing 2 out of the 3. The Havili Ruba de Shema, and that's the majority of the name. Amar Papa, Pshitali, the following is simple. If Seifel Milmala, the Kefel Milmata, Hakol Achar Tachtain. We say, always go back to the bottom clause, and there's a conflict. So if the first word says Seifel, which is a basket, and then Tefel, cloak on the bottom. So boy Rapapa, what if Kefil Milmala? What if the word cloak is above? The Seifil Milmata and a basket is below. Teku. Are we afraid that maybe a fly came on wet parchment and caused the letter to change? It says Rashbam, Shechisa Raglo Shel Kuf Vanasa Samach. Maybe really it's supposed to be Kefel, but because it landed on this letter, now it looks like a Samach, now it looks like Seifel. Hahuda Havik Savbe Shismei of Azusa. So let's look at the Rashbam actually before this. Let's see this Teku. So before we see the Teku, let's look at question 11. Hayu kasim ishtar shem lamala, v'shem chasim imenu lamata, mimehem zaycha b'ksav ashtar. So if it's missing one letter, then yilma tachta me'elyain. Shtei oisiyais yinas l'misha shmoi kishem ha'tachtain. You should give it to the person who that is that person's name on the bottom. So that's question 11. Okay. Okay. Says Rashbam, right. Fine. So Teku, so in this case, the burden of proof is on the one who's trying to get the thing out from his hands. So because the basin doesn't know, you're trying to take it out of the machzik's hands. It's not like it's a doubt. You divide it up. We have no idea in that what it is. You can go in Shoshan, you have an ox that gored a cow, and you find its young on the ground. We saw recently the house fell on the person and the mother. We are not able to figure out what happened. Hilkach poiskin lehen based in esedin shiachloku. So whenever it's impossible to decipher, so we always say achloku, or we could say achloku. Alkamakam she'alsa halacha b'teku. Whenever we say the halacha is teku, since they don't know how to paskin, shebiyadai. So therefore we say that there's a din of a moitz mechav araya. Question 12. Heich kamashmon b'mamon mutal b'safek l'maisa. So im ikra maisa mutal b'safek, and it's impossible to figure out. Again, the house landed on two people. You don't know who died first, or again, an animal gores the other, and its young is lying on the ground. We don't know when that happened. There's no way you'll know. So in that case, yachloku. However, im hu sveika de daina amatz mechavaraya. So it's considered to be a suffix among the dayanim, then we say amatz mechavaraya. Okay, that was question 12, which is the same question as TB1. Im yesh suffix al gufa shel maisa mahavik kamo imatza uber betzidoi v'niyodei hamaisa aval im anachnu yodim ahaya v'rak yesh suffix b'psak anachnu oimrim amatz mechavera olav haraya. Okay, weiter. So the person, he wrote 600 and a zuz, which is a little bit unusual language. So we say like this. Sholcharav Shravya, this question was sent, Kamedia Baya. Shis Meya is Tiri Vizuza, is referring to 600 Isser and also a Zuz. Odilma Shis Meya Prite Vizuza, 600 Prutos and a Zuz. So Amalei, Dal Priti, you should remove the possibility of being a Pruta. Do Kasve Bishtara. It's not written in the star. Diasuke Maskinle. Maskinlahu. Says Rashbam, Seimchen Oisten Bedinarim Bamakom Kuftsadi Beis Prutois Kaisvin dinner. Kasti Mishtara Vasuchi Maskinlahu. As we continue, Kufsamach Zanim and Aleph, Umashilahu Zuzi. So Ma'amrit Shis Meya is Tiri Vizuza 600 Isser and Zuz Yad Balashtar al Tachtaina. So again, we establish that if we're not sure, the one who's trying to extract the money, that person will get the smaller amount. Adkan.